Welcome everyone, this is the fourth season of Sunday Night Live. Can you believe it? I could have never imagined when I started during the pandemic that I would still be here with you today, and a great part of that is thanks to you. Thank you for following Sunday Night Live. And in honor of the kickoff of the fourth season, we have something very special. We have a real producer, Laurent Trapenard from 3.0 Production. Laurent works for a lot of luxury brands and he made time for us today. So thank you very much, Laurent. And today our guest, I'm gonna give you 3 clues to find out who our guest is. The first one is a book on Yves Saint Laurent. Ta-da! And I'll show you maybe, no, it would be too much to show you inside. It would be a dead giveaway, but I'll show you from afar. Here we are. The second clue is a sketchbook with very beautiful drawings inside, very beautiful sketches. And the third one, if you haven't guessed by now, the third one, ta-da! Beautiful earrings. So yes, my guest is Elie, the celebrated jewelry designer who has been referred as a master of extravagance.
Bonjour.
Hi Elie. Would you agree, the master of extravagance?
It's not my position to agree, no? I don't know.
Anyway, we'll decide by the end.
Decide.
We'll decide by the end of this conversation if it's true or not. Thank you for having me in your beautiful salon. Is that, how do you describe it? Is that a showroom?
I call them salon.
Salon. Your beautiful salon.
It could be a showroom, but it's not really a showroom. It's more in the old idea of a luxury place, so it's a bit hidden, it's private, and I do work here, I create here, I have my studio, but I also have different rooms where I can receive you, for instance,
yes.
And I can receive my clients too.
Yeah,
and
I can
actually
host
when dinners, and I can host like cocktails, and it's a place that's supposed to, I hope it does represent also my world, my universe, and it's a nice, set for my jewelry. So that's what I wanted.
Exactly. We've known each other for a very long time. I was a very young party reporter at Women's Wear Daily. Do you remember? And you were a party goer, and I remember you were so kind. You know, I was covering these events, and you were always giving me a great quote, a really good joke that made my story. So we could almost say that you made my career. Thank you very much. But it was before you created your own brand. It was...
Yes, I believe at this period I was more working for Lanvin, for the costume jewelry.
So before we get back to that, I would like to go back to your beginnings. Where did you grow up and how did it all start?
I grew up in the north of France, in a very small village. I'm really from the countryside, and I just was very interested into history and architecture when I was maybe less than 10, I would say, and I was sketching since I could hold a pen, so I was already sketching a lot, but I was more into churches and castles and things that I were seeing, but really much more turning to the past and also just building things.
Was there a specific period in the history that attracted you?
Really much more. I was very fond of Italia from the Renaissance, and also Venice, which is not really Renaissance, but very much into Venice and Rome. And then I discovered Versailles, of course, and Volvicomte and all the 18th century. Then I discovered also the Louis II de Bavière castles in Bavaria. And I was very much into Rococo and to Baroque and all very.
It was a
I was
mix
not
of.
into Gothic at all, except not for the churches. I was into Gothic.
Okay.
For the castle, I was really much more 17th century, 18th century.
And I read the chateau. I had to Google it. I'm sorry. It's a big lack in my culture, but the chateau of Linderhof.
Linderhof.
Yes. Is that what attracted you in that castle? Why were you so?
Because it was so baroque that I was so much into baroque at this period that I was totally mad when I went there. I was like,
oh, you did go there.
I was really ecstatic. But it was ugly actually.
And tiny as well.
It's very tiny. It's very inspired by Versailles actually. It's because
okay.
Louis II was super obsessed by Versailles. He redid Versailles in another castle. Erenchimensee, but I've never been there. And he redid all the Galerie des Glaces, everything the same. So and he never went there almost. It was totally empty, like a fake Versailles. The Linderhof was already a small replica, very inspired by a lot of Versailles elements. And the garden, and then you had also a grotta with the Tannhauser in tribute to Wagner and Tannhauser. But you see it very much if you watch Ludwig, the Visconti movie.
Yeah.
You have a lot of scenes from Linderhof.
And when did you go? When you were older, or when did you ask your parents?
Older, I was maybe 10.
You asked your parents to take you there?
10, 11. No, I went with my school actually.
Ah, you did. Okay.
We went to Neuschwanstein and to Linderhof.
And what were your dreams when you grew up in this small village?
My dreams?
Yeah.
I wanted to be an ambassador.
Live in this castle.
Because as I was just sketching this kind of house and like castles and things, I thought, well, maybe the best way to live in this type of thing and to have this type of very beautiful residence, it's to become an ambassador like that. Especially with friends, I'm sure to have a very nice home.
So that was the plan, and then what?
At the very beginning.
Okay.
And then, or I was an architect. It could have been so.
One or the other.
Just this type of thing. But then, when I was 11, maybe I started to be more interested into fashion, and I started to sketch more silhouette and women, and so I gave up a bit this architecture thing to be more interested by fashion.
And then you studied, I read that you went to l'École de la Chambre Syndicale de la Couture very, very young.
Right? No, just after my graduation, you said?
Yeah.
No, baccalaureate. I arrived there, I was 17.
So you knew you wanted to become a fashion designer, but that...
Oui, at this period, that's what I just wanted to work in fashion.
And your
parents? And I just wanted to live, actually.
I had a little bit of the same.
What?
I grew up in Beauvais.
Oui, like a lot of people. I have a lot of friends in the same situation that we wanted to escape in a way. Or at least we wanted to do something else, and we wanted to go to Paris, and it's really the city where I wanted to live, and there were no question. It was just
but
like...
I don't know for you, but for me, when I arrived in Paris, it was really hard in the beginning.
Hard? In which way?
Well, I arrived when I was in high school, and I was on my own, and I had to catch up in high school because the level in Paris was much better. And did you adapt right away? Did you enjoy it right away? I realized pretty soon after that Paris has much more to offer than where I was coming from. But
honestly, I never felt it was hard.
Oh, okay.
I was so happy that I was totally alone. I didn't know anyone. Really, like no relation, no family, nothing. But I was super happy.
And your parents were very supportive of you going to Paris?
They were okay.
Okay. And they... Did they help you?
No, they were supportive actually because I did it. So otherwise, I could not have done it. It was like very expensive school, and I had to leave my home and to come here and to live here. So Everyone was pretty supportive, actually, I'm not honest. No,
And
even my grandparents were super supportive.
Yeah, I can tell because what you showed me in this book, we have to show that all these post-it here were put there by Elie's grandmother because they are photos of Elie. Well, we'll go back to that after.
No, because what has to be explained is that this is a book of a documentary that has been done by David Teboul.
Okay.
And so it was screening.
Yeah.
And at the cinema or TV, I don't remember. And so the book was all the images are out of that
from
movie.
the documentary.
From the documentary.
I see.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we can tell that she felt strongly. She
But
was
when I
very
arrived
proud.
then I've been very lucky because at the Chambre Syndicale, that's how I met Lucien, for instance.
Oh, Lucien Pagès, who came to Sunday Night Live, season
he was
1.
1 year older than me, but it was maybe one of the first friend I ever had here.
I didn't know that.
He was 18, I was 17, or something like this. The nice thing that they were teaching you cut, and very, very high level.
Okay.
So this was very nice. And then they gave us and me very good opportunity to be an intern. So I was intern at Dior a lot
With Lucien?
With Lucien.
I heard about that one.
The Dior Franco-Perret period. We used to go there a lot.
Wow.
And then I went to Christian Lacroix for the haute couture. And then I went to Yves Saint Laurent.
It was your final internship?
Yes.
During your studies?
And they kept me. That's how I started to work.
Yeah, you stayed. How long did you stay there?
Not that much actually, but it was so strong in my life. I think it was 5 years, 4 or 5 years.
And Mr. Saint Laurent was still
He was
alive.
still there. When I arrived, it was a bit more, not awkward, but it was pretty it was special. I was super happy to be there, but the thing is that he was not in. It's not that he was such in bad shape, but he didn't want to do the ready-to-wear anymore, I believe. But this I didn't really know because I was too young to understand, and also I just went there as I was maybe 19 and a half, 20, and I didn't really understand all the links between all those people. I knew them, but I didn't know all the story. So it was like a very old incestuous family, you know, all working together since
because
decades.
there were not as many books as there are
No.
now. Yeah, so you couldn't know
I
all
had
this.
few ideas about those people, but I didn't know. I was just feeling very lucky to be there. I felt very comfortable in a way. I don't know why, because it was not very. It was not easy, but I fell in love, and you were also. It was like entering in religion. You know, it was a type of monastery. So you had to be. You had to believe into God.
Wow.
And God was him. So that was a bit the mentality of the thing. But the first year I was there, I came there, I was assistant of Jean-Paul Notte. And Jean-Paul Notte was assistant at the studio, but also he was working, there were many licensees, and I was working on licensing with him. That's how I started. Then I was allowed to come to the studio during the collections, and I was doing illustrations of the thing, and so I was there. That's how I met like Loulou de la Falaise and Marie Mignoz, all those people. And it was like that for 1 year. Then I was at this period, it was a very apocalyptic period for Saint Laurent, because suddenly Pierre Berger decided to give the ready-to-wear to Albert Elbaz. For the women, he gave men to Eddie Slimane, and Saint Laurent was still doing the haute couture. So it was like this triumvirate thing.
And where did you go?
And I went to work with Albert, and that's how I met him. and he did 3 seasons. But at this period, I was still very young, and I believe, and I never knew the real thing. But I believe he was obliged to take me. I'm not sure, but I think so, because I was so young and I was a part of the old studio, which was very strange. And Lulu La Falaise told me, you know, it will be very good for you because it's going to be all new with young people, young team. I believe it will be good for you. But in the same time, I believe that they told Albert, you have to take this guy with you. So the first meeting was okay.
But you were also super skilled. You've always been such a good...
Oui, mais I had no experience at all. I was like totally fallen from, how do you say, tombé du nid, no? From the nest. and and Albert then was, I don't know, because he was very intuitive, maybe. So he asked me he proposed me to work on jewellery. That's how it started.
Oh, at Saint Laurent.
Oui.
Okay.
And I initiated something there because he had no one really to work on costume jewelry. That there was a woman, and then she left. So he was like, and I was doing a lot of research of vintage of things for him. And then he was like, why don't you do this and try? And then he really liked it, so he encouraged me. And I start learning with the workshops, and that's how it started.
Yeah, because you didn't have a formal training in
Not
that
at all. I was just good at sketch, but then it's not enough, you know. It's very dangerous that. So that's really how it started. But then another cataclysm, a Gucci group bought Saint Laurent, and it became something else. And Tom Ford arrived, and he fired Albert. And so Albert had to leave, and all the team was a big shake, so I stayed there for maybe 6 months. But then I managed to go back to the couture house, because the couture house was an external society. It did not belong to the Gucci group. It belonged to another brand of Monsieur Pinault. It was something apart.
Okay.
And Lulu and Marie Munoz, they really they were pretty enthusiastic about what I had done with Albert. So they were like, why don't you come back with us and you'll be freelance and you will be there for the collection. There were just 2 collections a year for Haute Couture. And I was also assisting him. And so I was super happy. I went back there. Until it closed, until 2002.
And then what happened?
Like the same time I was freelance, so I had already started to work with other brands, like Daniel Swarovski at its period, and Albert just arrived at Lanvin. So I started to work again with him because he asked me to work on the accessories with him. So it was already, and then Lulu did her own brand, and I continued to work with her, and I worked with Albert, and also at Roger Vivier with Bruno Fisoni. At this period, I was doing like a lot of different things. I was doing handbags, jewelry, I don't know, belts, gloves, hats, whatever. No, but it was, you know, when you're young, also you accept, and you're very enthusiastic, so, and you have a lot of energy, so you just try and you do things, and you want to do all those things.
And Lulu, I saw a photo of Lulu in your office. She was very important to you.
Very.
Like a godmother?
Saint Laurent was very important in my life, but particularly Lulu La Falaise and Albert, actually. They were like my two, during my 20s, they've been, to me, they've really been my 2 mentors in a way. And they really helped me, they really encouraged me, they allow me to do a lot of things, so I was very fascinated by them, and they've been like really very important.
And you were very loyal lucky. Because I was fortunate enough to attend a party at your place during Fashion Week, and I was sitting next to the friend of Lulu, Ariel, who bought the name back, I think, to protect the name, from misusing of the name. So it feels like it's a bit of a family circle.
Also, it's a little bit also the Saint Laurent effect. Huh? There is something that it creates something so strong, those type of links between those people, that I still continue to have contacts with the people who used to work there. It's a very strange feeling because to me it disappeared. No, it's very strange because it's not a place when you can go back.
No.
It's
you
a
think
museum
it
now.
doesn't exist in fashion anymore, this kind of family feeling within a house?
Maybe it does exist for some other people, I don't know. But,
yeah.
To
But
me,
it was very special.
and it was so strong also. Because there was, when we call it the sect, you know, it's like.
Oh, wow, it says a lot.
No, I'm joking, but it's because it was really a type of school of taste, of this sick of beauty. I don't know how to explain. It's a school. It's a school.
And did you see Pierre Berger at the office in the studio?
Yeah, he was there at the end of the corridor, so he was there every day.
Then with Albert, it was a different atmosphere, or was Albert also recreating this family?
He created a school too, and a family. He was very much into that. But I'm not. I don't think it's about family. I think it's about comment dire. When some people are capable to create so much beauty, I'm sure that it creates to those people who are working for them type of faith that makes everything possible. But also Albert as Saint Laurent, it's the only two I knew, but it was like that. He could ask for whatever he wanted to those people because they believed in what he was able to create. In terms of beauty, I think it's really something else. It means, to me, the real thing is then when you go to a show, even Saint Laurent at the end, the shows, well, what they were. But sometimes, and you could feel that I cried. You could cry, which is so rare. You know, you just don't understand why. Yeah. But sometimes it's going so much farther or beyond, no? Beyond the fashion. It's not talking about that at all. It's more, it's like transcender. It's something that you go, you talk to something more universal, you talk about truth, you talk about pure beauty. You know, it's this type of feeling that gives you, suddenly you see something for, don't know, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, that makes you cry. So, and I'm sure that's the reason also it made all those people behind them
very faithful and very loyal.
No, but they're loyal because they believe in his power of creating beauty. It's that. So they could be mean. To me, it doesn't matter all this question of like they're good, they're nice. I don't ask them to be nice. Yeah. Honestly.
Except that Albert was very nice. He was known to be very nice. Not always.
He was the artistic director of a big brand, so voila. I don't care. Yeah. I really loved him. But it's not about the fact, he could say thank you, which is super important. And Saint Laurent was the same. They were like really thankful. And this is super important. But then when you work, if they want something, they cannot get it and things like that. And I understand that they get pissed off, that they get super hard, that it's normal. I don't want them to be cute and nice and like, who cares? You know, it's like...
No, you're right. Saying thank you is
and also, if they were not a bit megalomaniac and egocentric and all this type of personality, they will not be there. Yeah. So they won't be Mère Teresa. It's not possible. This is I believe Yves Saint Laurent was maybe the most egocentric person you could ever meet in your life. No? Yeah. But it's okay.
You've really worked with the greats of this industry. You've really worked with. It's very rare to work very closely with two great designers like that. So young, because you were very young.
Oui.
Yeah.
No, I was super lucky.
And you moved in 2015. You decided to create your own brand.
Mhm.
What led you to make this move?
But it was just the natural
Yeah.
next step. Also, maybe I needed to express more myself without this mentoring anymore. But it was not really totally only that. I think I had done a lot of costume jewelry collections. I was not bored, but I had the feeling that I had done, comment on dit,
A full circle.
Oui,
Ouais.
of everything I could challenge. Because it was a lot of technical challenge in my mind, also this technical and beauty challenge, and I wanted to go somewhere else. I wanted to go a bit out of fashion and to do more precious, also because it allowed me to do new technical things that I could never achieve if it was costume. And that was also one of the reasons, and also I wanted to speak by myself, I think. Yeah.
And I read in a story published in M magazine, we were talking about it by a great journalist, Valentin Perez, that there was a link between what you worked on, meaning the materials, the brass, and the work of your family in your village.
Oui, it's a bit symbolic. Huh?
It's a bit symbolic, but I like this.
No, but strangely, to be, we won't go, it's not a shrink exercise. Huh?
No, sorry, not at all.
But yes, I'm coming from, how do you say, a région, là, in my village and my country. It was very industrial and very
steel.
So you had a huge factory of steel, and both my grandparents were working there. My father, my uncle, a lot of people were working there. And when I was very young, I really wanted to escape from that, I suppose also. And then doing what I do now, I realized that I've been really much more impressed by that than what I thought, you know. Just like,
it had
and
a big influence on you.
A certain way of thinking about the techniques, about what the industrial aspect I kind of like, and this type of mechanism and thing. Actually, it's not that far from that.
And were your parents very supportive along the way? We said that they were supportive when you first went to Paris to study at École.
No, they let me do.
But then they saw how successful you were. They saw how successful you were.
Oui.
And then I'm sure they were proud of your success.
Oui, I suppose so.
Yeah. And then you said having your own brand allowed you to work with more precious stones and different materials. What kind of materials do you use now that you couldn't use in a fashion brand?
All the precious, because in costume you don't have any precious thing.
Right.
So it's like gold, silver. Mainly that's what I use and mix always together. And then I use like almost.
For example, on this one.
There you have like two tone of gold. You have rose gold, yellow gold. And then you have dark silver, you have diamonds, you have emerald, and you have yellow sapphires.
And I will live with them.
So there's a lot of elements.
Was it hard to learn how to use these stones?
No, not particularly.
No?
No.
And to get the stones, because I hear it's very competitive also between the...
Oui, mais to be honest, I'm not also into like...
high jewelry. Well, this is high jewelry.
This is high jewelry, but not like it doesn't cost millions. So we have like special people dedicated to color stones, semi-precious stones, precious diamonds, and it's their job. So we have meetings with them, and we find what we're looking at.
And where is it manufactured? Because I saw you drawing, sketching here, but you...
France.
Everything is in France.
Oui.
And you sell to your clients directly? What's the model?
But it's a mix, because there are few stores I'm working with around the world, but very few. Little bit in America, Lebanon, Greece, England, like few spots. And most of the time I do work here. or I travel. So I do trunk shows
And I'm sure your clients really enjoy spending time with you. And
I do spend time with my clients. I like it too.
I feel it's the original way, the the old
yeah,
way.
I believe so.
Which
Even the first floor thing, this type of hidden place, and that was more like it was.
And you also collaborated with Zara. I was very mad that I missed the collection when it hit stores. I think it was gone in a second.
Yeah, it worked very well. It was a big success.
How did it happen, this Zara collaboration?
No, it's Marta Ortega, the owner, and she's the CEO of Zara now, that she very simply offered to me to do a collection for them. But I can tell you the whole story if you want.
Yes,
because it explains a lot of things, I think. That when Albert died, she contacted me, and she was doing a private tribute in Zara, in the Zara company, about Albert, because she was very close to him, and I thought it was super touching, and I didn't know her at all. And she called me and she was like, I'm asking like several people who were very close to him if they want to write a text about him. So I did. And it was called Don't Be Afraid. Because that was Albert used to tell me all the time. It's a bit like Jean-Paul II, you know. But it was very important in the process, actually. Because when you start to, he was like, oh, don't be afraid, it's gonna be nice. And it's a good motto. And so then after that she recontacted me and she was like, oh, thank you, it was so nice. And she did like a very nice little book about it, and it was really elegant and smart. And a bit like that, she was like, well, by the way, if you'd like to do something with us, I would love to. That's how it started.
And how many pieces? It was a big collection? Or?
Quite a big collection, like 17 pieces. But it was a declination about one idea, like I called it the Song of the Earth, but it was all about like sunflowers and bees. So, but it came to me also super easily. So the idea was there since as soon as I started to think about it, I found it. So
it's interesting because it's at the end of the spectrum for you. We were saying you even welcome your clients here. It's very small, very intimate, and then you had this Zara collaboration.
Oui, but it was also costume jewelry.
Yes.
And I talked about Albert because I believe suddenly I realized that maybe it was a bit also my farewell to him. You know, I did that collection as if I had done it to Lanvin, I think, or for him. It was the same type of spirit, the same. I could have done it really for Lanvin. It was really the same spirit.
It was important for you to do your farewell.
But I realized it doing it after. It was something, he was there.
And did you do a farewell to Yves Saint Laurent when he died? Something creative like this? Was it your way to express your...
No, it was not the same thing, no. So,
well, not the same relationship either.
No, it's true. But then the true thing that you those very strong mind and personality, they continue to live with you. So that's important.
When you create your own pieces now, I guess you're like, don't be afraid.
A little bit, but it was as if I had been in a very good university, you know?
See?
Yeah, I consider really my 20s like a type of learning years. And I learned a lot with many different people and from many also different angles, because Loulou, La Falaise, or Albert Elbaz, or even Bruno Frisoni, they're all very different.
Oh, with Vincent, we were speaking
with
about
Vincent Daré, or with Inès de la Fresson. I met so many like very strong people with strong taste also, that you get fed. Yeah.
But you're fit as well.
In a very interesting way, and then you do your own your own universe and aesthetic out of it. You cannot, no one is, we are not like mushrooms, you know, we are coming from something, from somewhere. So this I really believe.
And your own aesthetic, now you've found it, and we're here in your universe. How would you describe your own aesthetic? That's a tough one, sorry.
This is your job.
Yeah, I know. That's a very lazy journalist question.
My own aesthetic is a bit...
Would you say that the 19th century really influenced you, or...?
No.
No.
No, 18, but not 19.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, no, I'm everything. It's more about mixing temporality and relation, I would say. And I try to conceal always those two influences we talk about at the beginning. It's this, like, maybe steel factory, industrial, more radical aesthetic, and something really much more baroque and or classic, but in the French way, I would say like 17th, 18th century thing, and baroque and more ornamental. And
it's a mix. It's exactly what you were doing when you were sketching as a little boy.
Really, it's a type of, it's a journey through different times.
Back and forth. With modernity always.
I try to make it relevant for today. And that's very important. Because otherwise
not only in the past, no, for sure.
Oui.
And there is modernity.
I hope so. No, it's really important.
But I read that your next collection is inspired by the Liaison Dangereuse, which is more back to the past.
No, it's not a joke, but it's just a word like that, because it will be one of the influence that I did not really use until now. So I want to use this thing and to do something for now out of it.
Wow, I look forward to anything you create, actually.
Because I was very fond of the Liaison Dangereuse, of course, so it's... I love this.
Such a great book.
It's a great book. But it's not a joke, but it's more to express this 18th century feeling.
And your inspiration comes from everywhere? Or it's really books that where you find the inspiration?
No. I find it... Most of the time, I think the more... you sometimes it can be really in your kitchen, you know?
Oh, wow. So it hits you when you're in your kitchen?
No. What I mean, it's a very, I'm very concrete when I say that.
When you're working on it.
If I see, I don't know, how do you say, a decapsuleur, maybe it can gives me a good idea. That's what I mean. It's
back
more
to
about
the
that.
more
it's very concrete.
rough and still.
Un ouvre-boîte, or you see?
Ooh, I would love that.
Those snakes and all the reptile skins of this collection has been inspired by boule de pétanque, all vintage boule de pétanque. So it really comes from that. Yes.
Do I see the vintage boule de pétanque?
No, they're so there on the little.
Oh, they're here?
Ouais. It's antique boule de pétanque, and they're made out of wood, and then they have studs in copper, in brass, and iron. So it's 3 colors, and it really looks a little bit like reptile skin. And it gave me the key, the technical key, and the aesthetic key in the same time that I was looking for.
Wow, so it's an aha moment when you see that.
Oui, and sometimes this kind of object, like the first collection I did, I told the story, but the mécanique céleste with the globes moving, opening and closing, I was obsessed, but it took me a lot of time, and I just wanted jewelry that you could, with movement, and that you could wear like in 2 different way, but without taking out something, just on itself, you know, and maybe it was simple, and I could not find the right idea. I just having my coffee on the Parisian bar when I saw the sugar pot, and it's all round and moving like this, and I was like, this is it. And then it becomes super easy. I can sketch in 1 week whatever I want. And this, I was sketching a lot of animals, and I was just like turning around, like since maybe 1 year, I was like not finding the right combination, because I always need also, I need a link between all the pieces, and I want them to be worked in the same way. So it has to be like a...
Because it's a collection.
It's a collection that I really like it to be very...
tight and cohesive.
Very tight. And suddenly when I found that, it was done.
Wow.
So then you're very happy.
I'm sure. And for the
it gives
sugar
you also
pot.
a direction and a path to work all the pieces, and it's really a key. It's a good key.
And you made a key. I saw a chart.
Yeah, I just did a key recently.
I like it.
I don't know what it means, but...
Well, thank you so much, Elie, for your time, and thank you for having me in your very special place. And I look forward to seeing anything you create next.
Thank you. Thank you, Laure.
Thank you, everyone. See you next week. Ciao.
Bye.